Although, sorry you caught me at a bad time. I'm in a bit of a rush to get out of here.
Well, you know what? Make time for me. Because I'm going to ask you one question, and I want a straight, honest answer from you.
Sure.
Did you come back to Genoa City to go after Chancellor Winters?
Quitting time?
Oh, you know it. Can I help you with something?
Just looking for Sally.
Oh, you just missed her. She already headed to your little rendezvous.
My what?
Oh, she told me. The Grand Phoenix rooftop. Your romantic dinner invitation.
Glad you can make it.
Join us again for The Young and the Restless.
Words cannot describe our grief.
2 officers with South Simcoe Police killed in the line of duty. We're learning new details tonight about the officers who lost their lives and how this shocking double homicide happened. We're live at the scene of the crime with the latest straight ahead. Also, the enormous sense of grief caused by this terrible tragedy, from the shock felt in the town of Innisfil where it happened to the incredible display of solidarity from colleagues escorting the fallen officers on a final journey. Global News starts right now.
You're watching Global Toronto. This is Global News at 5:30.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Alan Carter. For the 4th time in 4 weeks, the province has been rocked by news of officers killed in the line of duty. The latest happening last night in Innisfil, just outside of Barrie. 2 officers responding to a call on a quiet suburban street. Little did they know this would be their last. Both were shot and succumbed to their wounds. Catherine McDonald is live at the scene with the latest. Catherine.
Well, neighbors tell me they heard about a dozen shots fired just before 8 o'clock last night. This would have been just a chaotic scene on this quiet street in Innisfil. And this morning they woke up to news that 2 police officers had been fatally shot, which is so shocking for this community, given that the South Simcoe Police Service has roughly 120 officers in all.
To say that our community is devastated would be an understatement.
In the small town of Innisfil, where roughly 40,000 people live, the death of 2 police officers is almost impossible to comprehend.
The South Simcoe Police Service is devastated to announce the death of 2 of our officers.
It was 7:55 p.m. Tuesday when South Simcoe Police say they responded to a disturbance call on Summers Boulevard, a tree-lined street just blocks from Lake Simcoe. When the 2 officers arrived, police say they were both shot inside the home. The Special Investigations Unit, which has invoked its mandate, says there was an exchange of gunfire between a man on scene and the officers, and the man was pronounced dead. The wounded officers were rushed to a local hospital by emergency run, where one of the officers died. The second officer was airlifted to St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto, where this morning he also succumbed to his injuries.
It's a dark day and it's going to take us a long time to process this.
The two slain officers have been identified as 33-year-old Devin Northrup and 54-year-old Morgan Russell. The bodies of both officers were taken to the office of the chief coroner this morning in Toronto. Officers from area police services saluting for their fallen comrades as the procession passed. So what do we know about the suspect? Global News has learned from neighbors that a couple lived here with their grandson. The SIU confirms that the disturbance call was made by family members inside the home. Sources tell us it was the 23-year-old grandson who was shot and killed. The SIU has yet to release his name. Global News has learned the 23-year-old suspect is named Chris Doncaster. His grandmother posted photos of him on social media in a Canadian military uniform 2 years ago.
The firearm seized?
There was a firearm. Yes, the man's firearm.
Forensic investigators spent the day inside the house where the deadly shooting took place and towed a number of vehicles from the driveway of the home, as those in the policing community try to make sense of it all.
Well, these police officers, they can go out and, people wave at them and people call them by their first name.
Makeshift memorials are already beginning to grow for Constables Northrup and Russell, who tragically lost their lives in the line of duty.
We know their names. We know each other. They're not just police officers. They're our friends.
And we're here back live at the crime scene. As you can see, another flower memorial here on scene for these fallen officers. Now, there are unconfirmed reports that these two officers were shot with an automatic rifle. The SIU would not confirm that, nor would they confirm reports that the suspect, Chris Doncaster, may have shot himself. We'll have more coming up from the scene at 6 o'clock. Back to you.
Thank you, Catherine. And there was immediate reaction to the death of the police officers from politicians and from the policing community. Global's Sean O'Shea has more from Mississauga. Sean.
Alan, I'm standing beside the Tim Hortons in Mississauga, where Toronto Police Constable Andrew Hong was gunned down and killed last month. You can still see the floral remains, the dried floral remains of the tribute behind me. Hong's was the first of 2 police deaths last month, and now 2 more, and that's really hitting home to the policing community. 2 police funerals last month, a rare reality in the policing community here. Now what we saw in South Simcoe, the response from local politicians, the Premier, the Prime Minister, those came quickly. And those who work in policing say these latest deaths in the line of duty are a reminder about the real risks.
Policing is an honorable profession. It's a calling. And incidents like this anywhere cause all of us to pause and reflect, and really provides a stark reminder of the dangers that our members across the province put themselves in each and every day.
The families of people who serve are always worried for their loved ones as they step forward to serve their communities, to keep the rest of us safe. And I can't imagine what those families are going through.
So as the circumstances of what exactly happened are investigated, police organizations are starting to think about what should be done to try to help protect frontline officers in the future. And they're telling us about how these shooting deaths are really affecting the community. More reaction coming up on Global News at 6, Alan.
Thank you, Sean. And the deaths of Constables Russell and Northrup are devastating for family, friends, and colleagues and their communities. Coming up at 6 o'clock, what we're learning about those 2 officers who made the ultimate sacrifice. Toronto police say they are investigating what could be human remains found in the West End. Officers called to a vacant industrial building near Ossington and DuPont around 10:30 this morning. Few details are being released, but the investigation is ongoing. The family of a baby girl being cared for at Sick Kids Hospital is calling on people to talk to their families about organ donation. As Karen Lieberman reports, at this very moment, they're desperately waiting for a phone call that could save their child's life.
It's hard to think about that, talk to about that. The painful prospect of losing a second child. Preetha Hawk's first daughter died nearly 10 years ago as a baby. Her third daughter, 6-month-old Aliza, is now sick and in need of a liver.
And the life changed. Upside down now.
Aliza was born with a rare disease of the liver and bile ducts. Her parents clued in when she developed jaundice that persisted.
We stayed the whole day, and I think in the evening they told us we need to admit her in the hospital.
The cause of biliary atresia is not known, but liver transplantation from a live donor is the best option. Typically, a family member can help, but Aliza's family is alone in Canada, their loved ones all back home in Bangladesh.
I went for the testing, and the doctors ensured that yes, I am a healthy person, everything is okay, but the anatomy of the liver is not suitable for the donation. I can't donate. So that's another bad luck, that being a healthy person, I can't help my daughter.
Living donor liver transplantation happens when a healthy donor gives a part of their liver to someone whose own liver is failing. Within a few months, the donor's remaining liver begins to grow back.
The success also depends to careful selection of the donor, and that's why it's very important to keep in mind the size, the blood group, and other anatomical variation.
So the family now waits and hopes someone will come forward.
Now waiting for a good soul to give the gift of life to her. I know it's a big deal to give a part of a body to an unknown person, but please come forward.
The family set up a Facebook group called Help Aliza Zaman Find a Living Liver Donor with more information about what they're searching for. They're also encouraging anyone who has any questions to visit the University Health Network's Living Liver Donor webpage. And of course, we'll have all the information on our website, globalnews.ca. Back to you.
Thank you, Karen. Advocates installing a pop-up bus lane this morning on Dufferin Street near Bloor. Now, the goal of the demonstration is to encourage the next leaders of the city to take action and to expand the network. But as Matthew Bingley tells us, the current mayor says the program is moving as fast as it can.
The paint may wash away at the first sign of rain, but transit advocates hope this bright message will be received by Toronto's next leaders and those voting for them.
And they've shown just how easy it is to install a bus lane. But what's been harder is to see the political will needed from City Council and the Mayor to fast-track bus lanes all across Toronto.
The Rapid TO program aims to give buses priority on some of the city's busiest transit routes. But so far, only one of the lanes has been completed, and that was 2 years ago. Despite carrying more than 250,000 daily passengers, immediate action isn't within sight for the others.
That's why we've asked all candidates if they will make a commitment to fast-track more bus lanes.
Mayor John Tory, running for a third term, says the expansion of the lanes requires consultation, which he says the city is doing as fast as it can.
I can't, just blithely stand up in an election campaign or any other time and just say we're just going to do this because it sounds good or because it will help. They will help, but in the end, if we don't do them right and we don't do them with the support of the public, then we'll be in for more trouble later.
Toronto Metropolitan University's Murtaza Haider says it's a mistake to move slowly.
Building higher order rail-based transit is more expensive, prohibitively expensive, and at times it takes so long to get these things done on budget and in time. And buses, on the other hand, can do wonderful things.
Dedicated bus lanes, Haider says, hold the key to sustainable transit mobility in urban Canada, which is why he's at a loss. Some seeking office don't appear to be more serious about expanding them. Matthew Bingley, Global News.
Time for I'm glad you're impressed. We're all impressed. It's great to see you, Anthony. I guess we got a change in the forecast.
Oh, we have a change in the forecast, and you may notice some changes to our graphics as well. And what we're going to be dealing with over the next 24 hours are big-time changes. It has been such a dry month. There hasn't been anything more than 1 millimeter of rain in Toronto since late September. We had some sunny breaks today, but we're also dealing with quite a bit of cloud. It is currently 19. That is way above the average high of 14, and it will remain warm right through the night tonight. Mostly cloudy, but we are expecting those showers to start picking up in intensity as it gets dark, and especially after about 9 or 10 p.m. 19 in London, 21 in Windsor. This is the center of the warmth, so it's going to be pushing to the east. It's what's behind it. Right now, 9 only in Sault Ste. Marie. Winds have picked up as well, and we are tracking some rain showers, and then there's the heavier bands, even the risk of a thunderstorm as this front moves through early on Thursday. But let's talk quickly about the wind, because of course we've had such great leaf peeping conditions. The fall foliage has been incredible. Leaf peeping? Come on, you all did it over the last couple of days. The maple trees have been incredible, but these winds now picking up, and the rain, a lot of those leaves going into the storm sewers, the drains as well. So there may be some flooding as the wet weather moves in. A broad special weather statement in effect from Environment Canada advising that those gusts could be quite strong. I'm looking at just after midnight in Toronto, 60, maybe 70 km/h winds. The rain by tomorrow morning tapers off, but it could be a slow start to the commute. And then the cooler air starts to move in. How chilly will it get, Alan? I'm using some S words in the next half hour.
No. All right. Anthony Furnell, our chief leaf peeper, thank you so much. Coming up, we're going to take a look at a collection of well-known Canadian art that is just about to go up for auction. How much is this valued at?
I'll do anything to get my quality of life back.
Living with the pain of endometriosis, it can be devastating for those with the chronic condition. Why is so little being done? Closer look coming up.
So much evidence, so many possibilities.
You want to know if your sugar is fair trade, if the beans used in your coffee are ethical, that your cosmetics are not tested on animals, where your sneakers were made, and how that company treats their employees. If oil and gas came with a label, you would learn Canada's industry is working to reduce greenhouse gas emissions through innovative technologies. This matters because oil and gas will continue to play a key role as renewable energy sources are adopted. Learn more at madethecanadianway.ca.
No regrets. No, I will have no regrets. All the things.
Danielle?
Danielle.
Hi.
Glad we're finally doing this.
Me too. I could really use some advice.
Well, let's get to work.
I will have no regrets.
It started with one nurse and an impossible dream that every child should be a healthy child. It grew into a place of legends. These halls have given rise to many, where some give their entire youth for a chance to grow old. It's time to finish what we started and build a new hospital worthy of legends.
This is what selling your home with Properly feels like.
Now you can buy and move into your new dream home while Properly sells your old one for you.
Let's do real estate properly.
Pillow top mattresses, down-filled duvets, premium pillows, and so much more. Fall in to Sleep Country's Sleep Cozy event.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you in part by Olivieri Skillet Gnocchi. For recipes and more, visit olivieri.ca.
A warning tonight that there could be undiagnosed cases of breast cancer in Ontario because of fewer mammograms conducted during the pandemic. The Ontario Medical Association says there were 400,000 fewer mammogram screenings in that period than were forecast. The temporary decrease has led to cases of breast cancer that were more advanced at the time of diagnosis. The OMA looked at the Ottawa hospital and said pre-COVID, about half of breast cancer cases detected there were through mammograms. That dropped to less than a third during the pandemic. Compounding the problem, staff shortages mean wait times for treatment, including surgery, are longer than provincial guidelines.
We found that a 4-week delay of breast cancer surgery was associated with 8% worse mortality. This means that for 1,000 women waiting for breast cancer surgery, there will be 10 deaths due to the extra wait.
The OMA also says mammogram screenings have returned to normal levels. 1 in 8 with breast cancer in their lifetime. Global News has found that some Canadian women are so desperate for medical care, they're leaving the country to get it. Several women suffering from endometriosis say they spent years fighting for a diagnosis and treatment. Now they're calling on the federal government to take action. Jamie Marocker has more.
Colby Morley says for almost 2 decades, she was ignored by doctors.
Honestly, it goes back to being like 14 and having a lot of pain and going to the emergency room and no one ever knowing what's wrong with me and being told it's in my head, it's stress.
It wasn't until last year the now 33-year-old was diagnosed with endometriosis, a condition where tissue similar to that found in the uterus lining grows outside of it, causing extreme pelvic pain, soreness during sex, heavy menstrual bleeding, cramping, and even infertility. Patients say it's debilitating, missing out on work, school, daily life. In Canada, diagnosis delays have become an unfortunate norm, ranging from 5 to 20 years, and it's costing our healthcare system close to $2 billion annually.
There are common symptoms, but it affects everybody so individually that it really is, I think, part of why it is such a challenging disease to understand and to help treat.
Advocates say education and funding should be a federal priority. And while Health Minister Jean-Yves Duclos agreed, he couldn't provide any specific commitments.
We would certainly want to continue listening to the patient groups, the researchers, to see how we can strengthen even more both our investments and the outcomes for patients.
In 2020, the U.S. doubled annual federal research funding for endometriosis. And 2 years before that, the Australian government published its plan to increase awareness, education, and management of the chronic disease. A private member's motion calling on the Canadian government to do something similar here was created in March, but it hasn't resulted in any action. Morley, who had laparoscopic surgery in February to confirm her diagnosis, says she's done putting her life on hold and won't be waiting for Ottawa to take action. Instead, she plans to leave Canada to get further treatment.
I'll do anything to get my quality of life back.
Willing to pay out of pocket for the relief she should be able to access at home for free. Jamie Marocker, Global News, Toronto.
A big inquiry about to take center stage in Parliament Hill. Officials will be looking into the federal government's decision to invoke the Emergencies Act in response to the massive convoy protest in Ottawa earlier this year. The commission will hear from dozens of witnesses, including protest organizers and the Prime Minister. Kyle Benning with more.
It was 3 weeks of mayhem for Ottawa residents in February that ended with a stroke of a pen by the federal government. And now, the decision to invoke the Emergencies Act to clear up the protest in the capital will be assessed in an open commission. The Canadian Civil Liberties Association, or CCLA, is standing firm in its view that the act did not need to be used, saying the definitions of national security threats were not met.
Or genuine attempts to violently overthrow the government. Those are not thresholds that we think have been met, or at least we haven't seen the evidence that demonstrates that.
It was the first time in history a Canadian government had invoked this measure. Ottawa instructed banks to freeze accounts for those thought to be involved in the protest. The CCLA says the vague language officials used made Canadians think twice about their ties to the convoy.
Because I think the goal was to prevent people from They wanted to stop people from donating. They wanted to stop people from contributing to these causes.
More than 60 witnesses will offer testimony over the next 6 weeks, including the Prime Minister and members of his cabinet.
Measures that are not to be taken lightly, but that we brought forward with the Emergencies Act in a time-limited, measured way to be able to get the situation back under control.
Municipal and regional politicians will also testify, as will members of the protest group and public safety officials.
We are stretched to the limit, but we are 100% committed to using everything we have to end this demonstration.
That includes former Ottawa Police Chief Peter Slowly, who resigned more than 2 weeks into the convoy's occupation. The commissioner will open the inquest with a statement on Thursday, and the first witnesses are expected to appear Friday. Kyle Benning, Global News.
Critical condition. Why does it take patients so long to get a hospital bed in this province? New and disturbing data tonight on the province's rising wait times.
Tonight, we take you into the world of cheese and learn from the world's youngest cheese master.
Welcome to the Cheese Boutique, Susan.
This has been aging for 3 years?
3 years, especially for you.
That story coming up on Global News.
I'm Giles Tingey in the Global News Chopper. We're currently flying over the DVP at Bloor. As you can see, the DVP northbound at Bloor, there's been a collision in the right lane. That's causing traffic to be backed up to Dundas. Looking for diversified exposure to alternative energy? They've got ETFs for that. Horizons ETFs. ETF solutions for every investor.
The Heart and Stroke Lottery is back with 2 grand prizes of $1 million and the same great 1 to 2 odds of winning. Explore new roads in a Ford F-150 and Yamaha ATVs. Ride in style with a BMW or Mercedes-Benz. Take to the lake in an all-new Malibu sport boat and win cash prizes for your next dream vacation. There's $5 million in prizing available to be won. Imagine the memories you'll make. Let's beat heart disease and stroke and help save a life. Buy your tickets at heartandstrokelottery.ca.
At the Nissan Institute of Thrillology, we make sure the road gets your motor running. The Nissan Rogue, Thrillology approved.
Now lease select 2023 road models for 24 months OAC.
The USS Indianapolis, June the 29th, 1945. Damn near 1,100 men went over the side. There was no rafts, none. Oh, for God's sake, I can't say this. It's duller than my tax return.
Direct from London's West End, the smash hit comedy, The Shark is Broken.
Who gets top billing?
What do you think it's about? What? This damn movie.
It's about a shark.
Now on stage through November 6th. Get tickets at mervish.com.
Go crispy. Go tender. Go cheese-filled. Go popular. Go easy. Go for more, please. Go Olivieri Skillet Gnocchi.
Did you just unintentionally run into me?
Yeah, I really feel bad about it. It's completely my fault.
No, you take that back, pal. No, I was the one that slowed down just a little too soon.
No, that's what you're supposed to do. I take full responsibility for it.
Oh, great. The crash assist feature in my Bel Air Direct app detected the accident and is already offering emergency assistance.
My Bel Air Direct app detected it too.
Listen, pal, you like me, I like you, so let's wait for the tow truck and have a good time.
That sounds perfect. I love how your hair blows in the wind.
Thanks, man.
The Bel Air Direct app. Smart insurance with perks.
Buy your favorite lottery tickets from anywhere with OLG's mobile app.
I want to show people that you can go from sitting in a juvenile hall to sitting out here in Fiji with a PhD.
A neighborhood in Toronto has made the list for being one of the coolest in the world. Dundas West is ranked 12th on a list of 51. This ranking from the hospitality group Time Out is based on a poll of 20,000 local experts on the best spots to visit all around the globe. The neighborhood between Trinity Bellwoods and West Queen West is described as a culture consumer's paradise, with streets lined with boutiques and upscale restaurants and bars.
And I'm not throwing away my shot. We gonna ride.
The Broadway hit Hamilton, scheduled to return to the stage in Toronto this winter. It has been nearly 3 years since the COVID-19 pandemic cut the musical's run short. Mirvish Productions has announced it will run from February 22nd to May 14th at the Princess of Wales Theatre. Tickets go on sale November 21st. An impressive museum-level collection of Canadian art valued at more than $8 million is about to make an auction debut. Well-known works by members of the Group of Seven, by Emily Carr and by Paul Kane, were privately collected over a period of 60 years. Our Melanie Zettler has this first look at the collection.
We are delighted to be unveiling this important collection of Canadian art that will be featured in our fall auction on December the 1st. There's over 50 works of art being offered in the auction, and there's been a lot of excitement already. The auction focuses upon historical Canadian art, and it really includes all of the major artists that are celebrated and the major movements in schools, including works by almost every member of the Group of Seven, a major work by Emily Carr, as well as a work by Paul Kane. Thousands and thousands of people have stood in front of these paintings in exhibitions nationally and internationally, and they've also been reproduced in many books devoted to Canadian art because they are prime examples by these artists. So this was painted in 1912 by Emily Carr. The painting has never been available at auction before.
How much do you expect this to go for?
The auction estimate is between $2 and $3 million for this painting. However, we do expect it to challenge the record, which is about $3.4 million.
And a Tom Thompson.
We actually have two Tom Thompsons in this auction. Both are making their debuts at auction, being offered auction for the first time. This is Evening Pine Island. This is a 1914 oil sketch by Tom Thompson. There's another Tom Thompson right over here. This painting is called Petawawa Gorges. It's a depiction from within Algonquin Park, where most of his most celebrated work comes from.
Is this the oldest painting?
It would be the oldest painting. So this is an 1848 canvas by Paul Kane. Paul Kane canvases are incredibly rare. In fact, this is the first canvas, I believe, to debut at auction in almost 20 years. So this is a Lake Superior landscape by Lauren Harris, the celebrated member of the Group of Seven. This is very much in line with what we most celebrate from Lauren Harris. So in this room, we actually have a painting here by James Wilson Maurice.
And this Canadian private collection will be on display for the public to come and see for free here at the Cowley Abbott Gallery, October 28th to November 30th. Melanie Zettler, Global News.
Canada Post is offering customers something new beyond just mail service. You can now get a loan from the post office of between $1,000 and $30,000 if approved. The lending service is in partnership with the TD Bank. It's meant to fill a gap between payday loan operations and big banks. Customers during a pilot project use the money for things like car repairs, vet bills, consolidating higher interest debt.
This is personal for me. I went to police college with Morgan 33 years ago.
South Simcoe's police chief announcing the loss of 2 officers, both shot to death in the line of duty. How those officers are being remembered tonight. What exactly happened inside that home in Innisfil where those deadly shots were fired? We're live at the scene with the very latest on the investigation. And wait times rising. New and troubling data tonight revealing how long it takes to get a hospital bed in this province. That and more straight ahead.
This is Global Toronto. Global News at 6 starts now.
A community, a town, people across this province in mourning tonight. 2 police officers have been killed in the line of duty. They're being remembered as heroes who were dedicated to their work. The officers were responding to a call in the town of Innisfil when they were shot. We have team coverage on this story tonight. Catherine McDonald is in Innisfil and we'll have more on the investigation. Sean O'Shea has the reaction from the policing community. But we begin with Tracy Tong in studio to tell us more about those who were lost. Tracy.
Well, Alan, the 2 officers are being remembered tonight as heroes in life, not death. The tributes pouring in for Constables Morgan Russell and Devin Northrup are a testament to how much they were respected and loved, not only by the families they leave behind, but their colleagues and communities.
It is with profound sadness that I announce the death of Constable Devin Northrup and Constable Morgan Russell. Words cannot describe our grief.
It is clear the two officers loved their job, and the job loved them back. At 33 years old, Constable Devin Northrup had spent 6 years with the South Simcoe Police Service. He was most recently assigned to the Community Mobilization and Engagement Unit.
When you go away on vacation, make sure that your house is properly lit and properly locked.
His passion for policing, well documented. He was a member of the Emergency Response Unit, flew drones, and worked with the Mental Health Crisis Outreach Team. Just last year, Northrup received an award for excellence in emergency response for saving the life of a man in crisis.
And he was there for mental health to help people in difficult times.
54-year-old Morgan Russell spent more than 3 decades with South Simcoe Police.
This is personal for me. I went to police college with Morgan 33 years ago.
This photo shows a flashback to '89, PC Morgan Russell at the start of his policing journey. The uniformed patrol officer would become a trained crisis negotiator and was recently presented with his 30-year Police Exemplary Service Medal. He was just months away from retiring the badge.
He was up for retirement. I mean, this doesn't happen before you retire 2 or 3 months before. So it's sad that this happened to him and his family.
He was a fantastic officer, a great man, father.
One at the beginning of his career, the other nearing the end. Both died protecting their community.
The South Simcoe Police Service takes care of us. Now it's our turn to take care of them.
As their bodies were transported to the coroner's office, solemn salutes honored their end of watch. And Alan, I want to point out a bizarre coincidence in this story as well. When I learned the names of the officers this morning, I almost didn't believe it. The two officers, Northrup and Russell, share the same last names as 2 Toronto police officers also killed in the line of duty. Jeffrey Northrup was shot to death in 2021, and Ryan Russell struck and killed by a snowplow in 2011. Now, there are no family connections that we know of at this point, but this is certainly sending shockwaves within the policing family. Alan, back to you.
Thank you, Tracy. A lot of unanswered questions in this horrific story. At the center of it all, how did this happen? Who pulled the trigger? Crime specialist Catherine McDonald is live at the scene of the shooting. Catherine.
Well, Alan, as you can see behind me, the Special Investigations Unit and forensic investigators remain here at the scene trying to collect evidence and figure out exactly what happened here last night. Now, it's quite clear these 2 police officers did not see the threat they faced when they entered this home, both of them shot by a man inside. The South Simcoe Police Service says they were called here at 7:55 p.m. last night for a disturbance call. The Special Investigation Unit confirms that family members inside that home made the 911 call, and we have learned that when officers arrived, they were both shot. And after an exchange of gunfire between the man and Constables Northrup and Russell, a 23-year-old man was pronounced dead here at the scene. We've learned that an elderly couple lived in the home with their 23-year-old grandson, and while the CIII has yet to release his name, Global News has learned his name is Chris Doncaster. Just 2 years ago, his grandmother posted photos of him wearing a Canadian military uniform and said that he was a private on his way to becoming an officer. This afternoon, 2 vehicles were towed from the driveway of the home, and the SIU has confirmed that a weapon from the suspect was also seized.
Unsettling and disheartening to have a cop shot right on your street, you know. But that's what this world is coming to. Just more and more violence. Violence begets violence.
It's a dark day, and it's going to take us a long time to process this. But we will be there to support our South Simcoe Police colleagues, and we will be there to support the impacted families and friends.
Certainly there's anger. There's something that's got to be done. It looks like there's, between the Toronto one, there's a mental health problem. There's a gun problem. There's the New York regional officer that was killed. There's an impaired driving problem. So there's a whole bunch of things that have come together. What's come together in this one, we'll find out down the road.
And here back live at the scene, you can see a flower memorial that has just started to be formed for these fallen officers. You know, it is such a difficult day here in Innisfil, watching the emotions from the officers. There are only between 110 and 120 officers in all of South Simcoe Police Service, so people know these men and women by their first names. And now, so many questions about the suspect, Chris Doncaster. There are reports that he was carrying an assault rifle. How did he get this weapon? Was he trained while he was in the military? And why did his grandparents not know about this? And when they called the police, was there any indication that he may have been armed? Of course, answers to these questions will be coming out in the days to come, and we will be following this story closely. Alan, back to you.
Thank you, Catherine. In reaction to the police deaths in South Simcoe coming from around the province, Sean O'Shea has that part of the story from where another officer was shot and killed last month. Sean.
Alan, another dark day for police in this province, as Catherine and Tracy have been reporting. It was exactly a month ago when Toronto Police Constable Andrew Hong was gunned down here at the Tim Hortons in Mississauga. He was the first of 2 police officers who died in short order, and then 2 more today. And it is hitting the police community very hard. In the hours after the 2 police officers in South Simcoe died, a sense of dread.
It's that pall that falls across our profession once again, knowing the incredible impact it's going to have on all of the families.
And a flood of tributes.
To offer my deepest condolences to the loved ones of the 2 South Simcoe police officers killed in the line of duty.
Ontario's Premier praised everyone who puts their life on the line.
We appreciate your service. We'll always be there to support you, always have your back. And I just want to thank you for the job that you do day in and day out.
Toronto's Mayor John Tory tweeting condolences to the families and friends and colleagues of the 2 South Simcoe officers. And from the town of Innisfil saying it is heartbroken at the loss of officers from South Simcoe Police. Since mid-September, 4 Ontario police officers have now lost their lives in the line of duty or on the way to work. York Police Constable Travis Gillespie and Toronto Police Constable Andrew Hong. A staggering number killed in a short period of time, when Canadian police deaths on the job are relatively rare. Is there anything that can be done to prevent deaths in future?
There will be a time, once the details of that are known, to really turn our minds to what more can be done and why is this happening in our policing community in Ontario, where we haven't seen this violence before.
The policing is 90% boredom, 10% fear. And it's true, because you just don't know what's coming next.
The head of the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police says days like these bring home what officers deal with daily, the realities of what could happen on that next call.
Sometimes you'll hear people talk about, well, that's what they sign up for. None of us sign up to get murdered, but we sign up knowing that we're going to have to go to calls to try and help people and put our lives in danger and hopefully not have the outcome that they had today.
And behind me, the floral remains of tributes that were brought by the public here to where Constable Hong was killed and died just a month ago. And the public has a long memory, but police officers have an especially long memory when it comes to remembering their officers killed in the line of duty. Alan?
Thank you, Sean. A leaked report about emergency room wait times in Ontario is raising new questions for the Ford government tonight. It shows that patients in August spent almost 2 days in the ER before being admitted to hospital. Details and the fallout from our Queen's Park Bureau Chief, Colin DeMello.
The stories coming out of most emergency rooms in Ontario are largely the same. Patients like Sharon Doyle waiting for hours on end to be seen by overwhelmed staff and finally being told there's just no more space.
Around 4 o'clock in the morning, nurses came by and said, sorry, we're going to have to move you to the hallway because there's a more urgent case. So we saw all the people in the hallways and thought, well, no, if we end up in the hallway, we'll be forgotten for days.
Hers is a story being repeated across the province, captured in newly revealed provincial data. From the moment a patient is brought to the hospital, the backlogs begin. This past August, patients waited up to 83 minutes just to be offloaded from an ambulance and taken inside. That's a 40% increase from this time last year. Inside the hospital, it took up to 44 hours from the moment a patient is checked in to when they finally get a hospital bed. That's a 48% increase from the year before.
It's dangerous, it's indignified, and it's not right.
What's more, the report paints an acute picture of what awaits a physician. Every day during the month of August at 8 o'clock in the morning, there was an average of 883 patients just waiting in an ER for an open hospital bed.
It is considerably more stressful for the staff who are there. And then it runs the risk that more mistakes can happen and that patients don't get necessarily the same standard of care.
The Minister of Health declined our request for an interview, but in a statement said her government's policies will bring over 6,000 new healthcare workers into the workforce, free up over 2,500 hospital beds, and expand models of care to avoid unnecessary trips to emergency departments. Sharon Doyle considers herself lucky.
Luckily, I was brought in by ambulance, so that made all the difference.
Lucky, she says, to get out of the hospital in 13 hours. Colin DeMello, Global News.
Still ahead, exploring a cheese cave in Toronto. We'll meet with the local masters who offer hundreds of different varieties.
I'm Giles Tingey in the Global News Chopper. We're currently flying over the scene of an accident earlier today, which was at Markham and Steeles intersection. Markham Road is closed between Steeles and Denison for crash cleanup and the ongoing police investigation as a result. Looking for diversified exposure to alternative energy? They've got ETFs for that. Horizons ETFs. ETF solutions for every investor.
Are you ready? It's go time.
Survivor is the ultimate game of human chess.
911, what's your emergency?
The next gen of DNA analysis.
He's a little Ghostbuster!
We're taking the lead on this one.
Special agent in charge, NCIS Hawaii. Yes, 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 yes!
For old favorites, made healthier, Frigidaire's ovens have 15 ways to cook, like air fry and steam bake, to make life a little yummier. Frigidaire.
Pillow top mattresses, down-filled duvets, premium pillows, and so much more. Fall in to Sleep Country's Sleep Cozy event.
Cause I've had enough. It's about time for some good news. I've been waiting on some good news.
To all those who choose good, you inspire us. CIII, driven by good.
The Heart and Stroke Lottery is back with 2 grand prizes of $1 million and the same great 1 to 2 odds of winning. Explore new roads in a Ford F-150 and Yamaha ATVs. Ride in style with a BMW or Mercedes-Benz. Take to the lake in an all-new Malibu sport boat and win cash prizes for your next dream vacation. There's $5 million in prizing available to be won. Imagine the memories you'll make. Let's beat heart disease and stroke and help save a life. Buy your tickets at heartandstrokelottery.ca.
The reason home sellers don't get the most money for their home is because not enough buyers know it's for sale. Until now. Hi, I'm Frank Leo, and the reason you need to hire me is because I spend millions of dollars marketing your property to more qualified buyers, making sure you get the most money for your home. I advertise on thousands of websites. I advertise on radio. I advertise on television. And I have a full team ready to handle all the buyers that come in every day. I've helped thousands of families get the most money for their homes. If I don't get you the price we agree upon, I'll buy it myself.
Only Electrolux has Smart Boost technology for the most effective stain removal, extending the life of the clothes and fabrics you love for a more sustainable future.
I had hoped she would get out of this field altogether.
Mom, I'm a detective. I detect.
Welcome back. It's time to talk about our weather forecast that is taking a bit of a turn tonight, Anthony.
That's right. We got a bonus day today. The sun actually made an appearance briefly. It is quite mild, considering we should be at about 14. Anytime you're up at 18, 19, even 20, that's pretty good. Southeast flow at about 11 kilometers per hour. There is a special weather statement for gusty winds. It just hasn't materialized so far. We may get some gusts with the rain and maybe a thunderstorm later tonight, but by tomorrow, 20 to 40 clicks and that temperature 14 early on. It's not going up like it did today. 13 degrees by afternoon, and then evening will be down to 11. So a slightly cooler day, but still, let's remember 14 is average for this time of year, and most of the rain is coming in here overnight tonight and into the early morning hours tomorrow. Behind the front, different story. Thunder Bay, 7, 4 in Winnipeg, and it's some of this chilly air. It's going to take its time getting into the Great Lakes, but once it gets here early next week, watch out. Lake effect rain and potentially accumulating snow. You heard it here first. 5 to 10 centimeters or more within an hour's drive of Toronto. Yeah, not what people want to hear. Not a popular guy, but we are tracking this cold front very closely. There have been lightning strikes all the way up towards Hudson Bay early in the day and then extending south down to Texas. So it's a rather large front. Some severe weather south of the border. We're not anticipating that tonight, but we are going to get into some heavier rain, anywhere from 10 to 20, even 30 millimeters if you get one of these heavy bands over you for enough time. And then some sunny breaks during the afternoon on Thursday. Let's go through Friday. Becoming partly cloudy and temperatures right around average. There's your rainfall amounts, 10 to 20 millimeters, but locally quite a bit more. That's our daytime high, typically. 8 in Wyerton, 4 Sault Ste. Marie. We're going to get those winds gusting 50 to 60. And then for the day tomorrow, 16 reached early. It'll be 16 in Kingston and Ottawa as well. As we zoom in on areas around the GTA, a little cooler in Caledon, Muskoka, both at 13 with rain early on. And then I do think we get into some sunny breaks later in the day. Friday, partly cloudy, 12, 16 on Saturday. So still, it's not that bad, right? Monday, 9. Winds pick up. It cools down. Rain, even some wet snow mixing in, Alan, for the city of Toronto. We've got lots of time to talk about that. Here's your dog walking forecast for tomorrow. Best bet is a longer walk in the afternoon with those sunny breaks coming back with us. We'll be right back after this.
The dog walking forecast is brought to you by the Bone and Biscuit. Visit in person or online at boneandbiscuit.ca today. Closed captioning of this program is brought to you in part by Best Buy. Get your hands on cutting-edge tech and imagine the possibilities in store at Best Buy.
Today, our hero Michelle checked in on her mom, helped her son practice driving, stood up for a colleague, and went to the pharmacy to help protect herself against pneumococcal pneumonia with the Prevnar 20 vaccine. She knows it's a serious lung infection that's more of a risk after 50 and can put you in the hospital. Yes, even heroes should think protection. Ask your doctor, nurse, or pharmacist about Prevnar 20 today and help protect yourself against pneumococcal pneumonia.
We're committed to exceptional customer service. Our 24/7 tech support team is there when our customers need us to be.
Our customers really are at the center of everything we do, and that's what drives us here at Rogers.
Our local customer service representative with exceptional training are ready to serve you.
Together, we're going to come up with a solution that's going to meet their needs. For me, that's exciting.
We are committed to Canadians.
If you're tired of grocery delivery under-delivering, then it's time to try Voila by Sobeys. Our food is always fresh, or it's free. Groceries stay refrigerated all the way to your door. And just what you've ordered arrives just when you want it to. Satisfaction guaranteed. You might think it's magic, but it only feels that way. Voila by Sobeys. Your groceries delivered just like that.
A sale so big we could only call it the Super Sale. Super savings in every department store-wide. TVs, home audio, appliances, laptops, car starters, and more. Plus, no interest and no payments until 2024. See all the deals at visions.ca.
Our pets are happiest when being themselves. A diet of real food will help keep them that way.
Get started with your neighborhood pet nutrition experts. Real pets, real food, real healthy. The Bone and Biscuit. Sniff out a store near you at boneandbiscuit.ca.
Over 5 runs, no chance that bet plays.
Nah, I trust my gut.
Gut's garbage. See for yourself.
Bet mode activated.
Go! Fries. 230 calories, 11 grams of fat, 30 carbs. What? Just a stats guy. Okay, my gut says over at 5 runs. Let's see. The opposing pitcher has an ERA of 5.28, and the Blue Jays are already up by 3, so...
It's a good bet? How?
Trust the gut. Or trust the numbers. Either way. Come on, everyone! Trust the gut! No. No one? Okay, it's my cue.
What's the secret to making perfect rice? It's Tilda Basmati. Tilda has been mastering the art of pure basmati for over 50 years. So you get delicious, fluffy rice to elevate your meals. This is rice perfected. This is Tilda Pure Basmati. Available in traditional basmati and ready-to-heat flavors.
I want to show people that you can go from sitting in a juvenile hall to sitting out here in Fiji with a PhD.
Our next story is all about family in a business that has been going strong for more than 50 years. Our Susan Hay joins us now with a cheesy story tonight. Susan?
Do you like cheese?
Well, I like cheese.
You love cheese.
My middle name is Cheese.
You're going to love this story. The Pristine family, I didn't know that. Owners of the Cheese Boutique have survived a lot through the years, including the challenge of running a business during the pandemic. But their strong family values, love for each other, as well as their dedication to customers, not to mention their hard work, is what makes this iconic shop second to none.
Welcome to the Cheese Cave. In this room, there's probably 150-ish or so different cheeses, over $1 million worth, and this is like just a fraction of our inventory.
A fraction for sure, because from this West End City location, you'll find more than 600 different types of cheese on hand.
This is all about aging.
I'm not selling some of this stuff for like 10 years.
Known as one of the world's youngest cheese masters, Afram Pristine has more than 25 years of experience in the art of cheese making, and he's also the co-owner of the Cheese Boutique.
This is a really special place. There's 4 generations now. I am number 3, along with my 2 other brothers. We've really tried to make selling cheese cool.
And it all started 52 years ago with his father and grandfather.
My dad's family came from kind of many different parts of Europe, but they're Albanian. My mother is from Naples, and they came here in 1967, and they opened up this little tiny shop called the Cheese Boutique, really for one reason and one reason only: to put food on their table.
What started as a mom and pop shop grew into this. 1,500 different products from all around the world.
The name Cheese Boutique isn't quite synonymous with who we are anymore, but you know, that logo is something special to us.
But it's that logo that still gets customers in the door.
Hilary Duff, Bruce Springsteen, I served Neve Campbell, Dustin Hoffman.
He spent years in Europe from dairy farm to dairy farm, honing his skills and fostering relationships with different producers and farmers.
By the time I turned 20, my dad said, "You're going to Europe and you're going to go learn." And I went to learn from the best cheesemakers in the world, some of the best chefs in the world. Aged provolone here, that's bigger than you. It's bigger than you. Canada represents our cheese counter more than Switzerland and Italy combined.
And his favorite?
I love blue cheese.
A few years ago, you published a book, and it was dedicated to your family. Why was it important for you to do that?
When my dad and grandfather started this, if they ever thought, that we'd have a published cookbook that went worldwide, to talk about my family and like what we've been through all these decades, and like just coming here with nothing but, some hope and a dream. I wanted to get that in a book because it's important to me.
He told me this story of Dustin Hoffman coming in with an empty suitcase. He says, "I'm heading back to New York tomorrow. Fill it up with the best cheese you got."
Just give me all the cheese you can fit into the suitcase. An incredible place. I've been there before, and you just wander around. There's so many incredible things to look at and to smell.
He said it's a destination. It's not a place you just stumble on. No. And it's a happy place, and there's music, and it's very family, and they have worked so hard. His dad is retired, but he still goes every day and checks things out, make sure that the boys are running it properly.
All right, make sure the cheese is in line. All right, thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
Looks like this guy's had a piece of cheese or two in his life. Coming up, a chunky champion has been crowned. Details on the winner of the Fat Bear competition.
I'm Donna Friesen. Ahead tonight on Global National, 2 Ontario police officers shot and killed while responding to a call at a home in a small town. Plus, how more companies are aiming to get their flying cars off the ground. Join us for Global National next.
I'm the captain of the real boat.
Here's to the straggly ones, the itchy ones, the black, brown, red, and gray ones, the ones grown by Dad, the ones grown for Dad. Because whatever you grow will save a bro. Sign up now at Movember.com.
It's the family cottage, but if you asked any of us, it was really Grandpa's happy place. Every day he'd get up first, just to catch the sunrise. He was born on the East Coast, so around a bonfire, he'd play the fiddle instead of the guitar. His second love was his boat, and he named it after his first love, Grandma. And every August, we celebrated his birthday there. I think we always will.
Introducing the all-new Infiniti QX60. Take on your wild world in style. School starts as a place, but with the right supports for our kids, learning comes alive. A classroom becomes a galaxy, a portal to wonders worth protecting, a safe harbor to explore the world at large. Means supporting endless possibilities. Help bring learning to life for our kids.
It's tough.
It's tiring.
Our hard days are very hard days.
But
if you ask me tomorrow to do something else, I would say no, I want to do the exact same thing.
it's some of the most satisfying, rewarding work you can do.
You have to kind of realize the impact you can have on people.
It's all worth it. Every second of it.
We all love the action, but let's get down to what this game's really all about. You versus the dealer. It's on. Play against live dealers now at OLG.ca's new live casino.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you in part by Allstate Canada. Everyone saves when they combine their home and auto with Allstate.
There is a new champion. A new champion has been crowned in the beefy battle of the fattest bear. Yes, the results are in from the annual Fat Bear Week competition, which has people vote for the fattest brown bear in a national park in Alaska. Receiving over 68,000 votes, the winner is Bear 747, nicknamed the Jumbo Jet. Tipping the scales at 1,400 pounds. This is the second time for 747 winning the contest. He doesn't actually get a prize, just our admiration.
Yeah.
But the competition celebrates bears for getting fat before winter hibernation. Somebody should celebrate me then.
Yeah, Thanksgiving is over. Still packing the extra pounds. Maybe that's a good thing because temperatures are dropping in the next few days. I wasn't joking when I was mentioning snow. Next week. It is a likelihood with the pattern that we're in. So today was nice. Tomorrow, still pretty nice. Some early morning heavy rain though.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow.
On this Wednesday night, 2 Ontario police officers gunned down in the line of duty.
This is a heartbreaking time for our police service.
The victims, the suspect, and the deadly confrontation. What Alberta's premier claims about the unvaccinated.
They have been the most discriminated against group that I've ever witnessed.
The facts and the reaction. Endometriosis patients' plea for help.
It is such a challenging disease to understand.
The costly delays in diagnosing the painful chronic condition. And the race between flying car companies. Competition soars to take our commute to the sky.
Global National with Donna Friesen.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a devastating crime in a small Ontario town. 2 police officers were shot and killed while responding to a call at a home in Innisfil, Ontario. It's a town on the shore of Lake Simcoe, about an hour and a half north of Toronto. Constables Morgan Russell and Devin Northrup were rushed to hospital last night but did not survive. A 23-year-old suspect who police say exchanged gunfire with those officers died at the scene. Mike Drolet is near the crime scene in Innisfil. Mike?
Donna, it was described as pandemonium on this quiet street. Some residents say the idea of a shootout seems so far-fetched they thought all the commotion was for someone having a heart attack. But 2 cops killed? No, they said, certainly not here. The air ambulance carrying Constable Morgan Russell landed at the trauma center in Toronto just before midnight. He died early Wednesday morning. A heartbreaking end to a deadly confrontation in the previously quiet town of Innisfil, just north of Toronto.
Words cannot describe our grief.
Police say they received a complaint for a disturbance, although they won't say what it was. Once inside the home, Russell and his partner Devin Northrup went to the basement.
There was an exchange of gunfire between 2 officers and the man, and that man was pronounced deceased at the scene.
Global News has identified the suspect as 23-year-old Chris Doncaster. Neighbors say he had been staying in the basement of the home owned by his grandparents, who were upstairs when the gunfire began.
Unsettling and disheartening to have a cop shot right on your street, you know. But that's what this world is coming to. Just more and more violence. Violence begets violence.
It's been a particularly heartbreaking month for law enforcement in Ontario, with Russell and Northrup becoming the 3rd and 4th officers killed in the line of duty.
I know the families of people who serve are always worried for their loved ones. Please know that we stand with you as families.
Unsure of where to go, friends and colleagues of the 2 officers gathered at the town hall, where they spoke of their impact on the community. The 33-year-old Northrup was relatively new to the force, but was a key part of the mental health unit. And Morgan, one of the most senior members on the force, was called one of the better ones.
This is personal for me. I went to police college with Morgan 33 years ago.
Morgan could have retired 3 years ago, but stayed on.
I know that Morgan was going to retire once his daughters were finished university. They were almost there.
The CIII are now involved, so police are extremely limited in what they can say, but people here, including the former colleagues of the 2 officers killed, are desperate to understand what happened in that basement. Donna?
Mike Drolet in Innisfil, Ontario. Thanks. Now to Alberta, where the new premier is attempting to clarify something she said yesterday that generated a great deal of reaction. Here is what Danielle Smith said after her swearing in.
The community that faced the most restrictions on their freedoms in the last year were those who made a choice not to be vaccinated. So they have been the most discriminated against group that I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. That's a pretty extreme level of discrimination that we have seen. I don't take away any of the discrimination that I've seen in those other groups that you mentioned, but this has been an extraordinary time in the last year in particular.
Smith also pledged to protect unvaccinated people under the Alberta Human Rights Act. Her claim that they are the group most discriminated against was not backed up with evidence, and it drew widespread criticism from Indigenous, Jewish and Muslim groups, among others. BC's premier called it laughable. Today, Smith put out a statement saying she did not intend to trivialize in any way the discrimination faced by minority communities and other persecuted groups. Global's Brianna Karsten-Smith is in Edmonton. Brianna, she's not saying sorry or that she made a mistake. What's been the reaction?
Donna, the Premier's latest words are simply not enough, according to multiple groups we've heard from. Instead, they're now calling on her to actually take action. As you mentioned, the Premier of British Columbia has weighed in while speaking on a radio show in Victoria, calling Smith's comments laughable. John Horgan says he disagrees with the comments made by Alberta's new Premier, saying she's focusing on a sliver of the population when there are other challenges going on. The Jewish Federation of Edmonton released a statement saying, "We have reached out to the Premier's office to express our concerns and are keen on meeting with Smith to discuss anti-Semitism, discrimination, and the need for mandatory Holocaust education." Also, a MacEwan University professor and leading researcher on gender and youth points out people within the 2S LGBTQ+ community continue to face discrimination, including as recently as last month here in Edmonton, when a group was targeted with threats of violence for gathering.
When you hear those kind of comments from our new Premier, people are wondering, am I really safe with this in this province? Am I really valued? Am I welcome in this province? And I think that's exactly the wrong kind of message that we want to send.
Smith did say in her statement that she's committed to listening, learning, and addressing the issues affecting minority communities, adding, over the next few days, my office will be reaching out to set up meetings with minority community stakeholders so I can better understand the different concerns of their individual communities. Donna.
All right, Brianna Karsten-Smith in Edmonton, thanks. In the U.S., conspiracy theorist Alex Jones has been ordered to pay a colossal amount in damages for the lies he spread about the shooting massacre at Sandy Hook Elementary School in 2012. A Connecticut jury has ordered Jones to pay nearly $1 billion to the families of 8 of the victims of that school shooting and an FBI agent who responded. 20 children and 6 teachers were killed in the shooting. Last year, a judge ruled Jones and the parent company of InfoWars are liable for defamation because Jones spent years calling the shooting a hoax and described the dead children and their grieving parents as crisis actors. In a previous trial, Jones was ordered to pay nearly $50 million to another family. A third trial is still pending. In Ottawa, the decision to invoke the Federal Emergencies Act back in February is under scrutiny. Hundreds of vehicles and people occupied the streets adjacent to Parliament Hill for weeks and refused to leave. The Prime Minister maintains invoking the act was necessary and right. Others, including the Canadian Civil Liberties Association, believe it was unlawful and unconstitutional. All of those involved will have a chance to make their case at a public inquiry which starts tomorrow. It must, by law, happen whenever the Emergencies Act is invoked to ensure accountability and oversight. Eric Sorensen explains who will testify and what's at stake.
Wellington Street, the main road to view Parliament Hill, has never returned to normal. Off limits to cars and truck traffic, the most visible and lasting impact of this. The convoy of protesters who blockaded streets last winter, upset over such things as vaccine mandates. They shut down commerce and ordinary life in the city centre. For weeks, authorities largely stood watch until Ottawa invoked the Emergencies Act that granted, among other things, extraordinary powers to police to clear people out of the downtown. But was the Emergencies Act appropriate? A measure so serious that it triggers a public inquiry, which begins tomorrow. Ontario Appeal Court Justice Paul Rouleau is the inquiry's commissioner. Among those with standing as participants, the federal, Alberta and Saskatchewan governments, the cities of Ottawa and Windsor, the Ottawa Police Service, and a group of prominent convoy organizers, including Tamara Leach and Chris Barber, who also face charges that include obstructing police. Among dozens of expected witnesses, the Prime Minister says he will be available to testify.
We move forward with measures that are not to be taken lightly, but that we brought forward with the Emergencies Act in a time-limited, measured way to be able to get the situation back under control.
But the Canadian Civil Liberties Association questions the powers used to freeze assets of protesters and says Ottawa went too far, using the Emergencies Act not as a truly last resort.
And it is our opinion that their actions were unlawful and unconstitutional. The government has yet to prove that the legal threshold to invoke the act was met.
For local shops that depend on visitors, the harm is still being felt.
Wellington Street has stayed closed. It's been devastating for us to have these streets closed.
There's concern that the impact on the local community will get short shrift in a politically charged national inquiry. That inquiry begins Thursday in Ottawa's Library and Archives building, very near where the protests occurred. The hearings will last about 6 weeks, with the inquiry's report due next February. Eric Sorensen, Global News.
Jewish groups are calling for more action against online hate because of the case of an immigration consultant hired by the federal government. Laith Marouf, whose Twitter accounts have been suspended, sent a series of vile anti-Semitic tweets while he was receiving federal funding for anti-racism programs. It took more than a month for the diversity minister to react and suspend that funding. Abigail Beeman reports.
Life is too short for shoes with laces or for entertaining Jewish white supremacists with anything but a bullet to the head. That's just one of many anti-Semitic tweets from Laith Marouf, whose organization received federal funding for anti-racism programs until an outcry prompted the government to cut it in August.
Opinions expressed by this individual were reprehensible and unacceptable, and the fact that this individual was able to secure government funding through the organization was absolutely wrong.
The diversity minister admitted he first learned about the issue more than a month before cutting funds.
It was on July the 19th or 20th.
I just want to know why it took so long. Did no one Google Mr. Marouf, his wife, the organization?
We have to be somewhat concerned about a 30 or 35-day time lag.
But the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs and other Jewish advocacy groups are not slamming the minister, acknowledging things take time and pleased the government has committed to better vetting going forward. Several groups are calling for the CRTC to cut payments that Marouf's organization receives to participate in matters heard by the commission.
What applies to government, essentially using taxpayer funds, should extend to all crown corporations.
All this against a backdrop of rising anti-Semitism.
Our 2021 audit is the highest number of anti-Semitic hate crimes and hate incidents that have ever been recorded by B'nai B'rith.
There's a push for swifter action from the government for its proposed online anti-hate legislation. While at least 2 of Marouf's Twitter accounts were suspended,
we need you to take down those Zionists who appointed themselves as your leaders.
He finds other platforms defending himself and doubling down in this YouTube video.
Prime Minister Trudeau's false accusations against me fall under hate propaganda in the Criminal Code of Canada. It is a charge worth 2 years of jail time.
We asked the diversity minister for an interview about why it took more than a month to cut funding. His office didn't even respond to our request. Abigail Beeman, Global News, Ottawa.
More aid for Ukraine coming up, what Canada and other NATO allies are sending to help in the fight against Russia.
The heavy hitter. The original. The award winner. The non-conformist. The weekend warrior. There's an award-winning Ram truck just for you, with a full line of trucks for immediate delivery during the all-out clear-out event. Ram Classic models now get 0% financing for 60 months or up to $9,500 in total discounts.
You know, this TD app makes things so easy. It's got access to your banking, trading, and rewards together.
Pretty sweet. You kids got it so easy. In my day, I had to bank on one app and trade on a completely different app. Know what I did for rewards?
I'm gonna guess the third app.
Third app. It was exhausting.
Isn't he like 7 months older than us?
We graduated together.
It's a whole new world of easy with the TD app.
This is an office.
Sorry, Gary. TD, ready to help you move forward.
When your back hurts, life hurts. Roback's dual action formula relieves pain and relaxes tight muscles. Take back your back with Robax.
Picky? You? Come on, you're not picky. You just know what matters.
like German steel matters. So does the delicate dance of seasoning. Cooking fish on the right side on the right Paderno pan for precisely the right time matters. Getting all the bake with none of the stick matters. So no, you're not picky. You're just a cook. And you know that quality matters. Paderno, it's a cooking thing.
Where's your Kraft peanut butter?
What is Kraft peanut butter?
I'm going up there.
Fire Country, all new Friday at 9 Eastern on Global.
This is the impact of Russian missiles on civilians in Ukraine. A family trapped in the rubble of their building in Zaporizhia. They managed to crawl to safety one by one. The southern city is one of many hit by a barrage of Russian missiles over the past few days. There are fears more people may be buried in that rubble. The Russian president says the airstrikes are retaliation for the attack on its vital bridge to Crimea on Saturday. And Vladimir Putin blames Ukraine's military intelligence service. Today, Russia detained 8 people it suspects carried out that blast, 5 Russian citizens, 2 from Ukraine and 1 Armenian. Ukraine's allies are reaffirming their support to strengthen its defenses. More than 50 Western countries met at NATO headquarters today, promising to supply more weapons. As Crystal Gamansing reports, Canada will be providing another $47 million in military aid.
In aid of Ukraine, Canada's defense minister came to the table alongside NATO allies armed with a new support package. $2 million worth of satellite communications, $15 million in drone cameras, $15 million in military equipment, plus more ammunition.
We know that Ukraine has been needing and asking for additional artillery, in particular the 155 millimeter artillery.
That is a long-range round used in howitzer M777s like this one Global News saw in action in eastern Ukraine. Frontline resupplies are desperately needed as Ukraine continues its offensive to reclaim territory from invading Russian forces. Priority right now, however, is aerial protection. Ukraine's prime minister says over the past 3 days, it has seen 128 strikes. At least 27 energy infrastructure sites have been attacked. A power plant in Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, which supplies Europe's largest nuclear plant, was knocked offline again Wednesday. The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency has been meeting with Ukraine's president and Russia's in hopes of creating a protection zone around the site. The Secretary General of NATO reaffirmed its unwavering support for Ukraine.
The attacks on the energy infrastructure is serious as we approach winter. So all of this demonstrates the urgent need for more air defense for Ukraine.
The broader coalition, known as the Ukrainian Defense Contact Group, used the NATO gathering to talk next steps.
We will do as much as it takes for as long as it takes.
With fears over Russia's veiled nuclear threats and recent strikes near Europe's largest nuclear plant, day 2 of the NATO gathering will focus on nuclear safety. Crystal Gamansing, Global News, London.
A leak has been found in the largest pipeline that carries Russian oil to Central Europe. There is no clear evidence of sabotage. The leak is believed to be the result of an accident. Europe is already facing a severe energy crisis because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the shutdown and subsequent sabotage of the Nord Stream natural gas pipeline. Ahead, desperate pleas for national action on an agonizing medical condition for women.
A new $5.99 King Meal Deal is on at Burger King. Mix or match 2 sandwiches, Chicken Junior, Cheeseburger, or the new Angry Cheeseburger with spicy jalapenos and our famous Angry Sauce. A King Meal Deal with fries and a drink for just $5.99 at Burger King.
You want to know if your sugar is fair trade, if the beans used in your coffee are ethical, that your cosmetics are not tested on animals, where your sneakers were made, and how that company treats their employees. If oil and gas came with a label, you would learn Canada's industry is working to reduce greenhouse gas emissions through innovative technologies. This matters because oil and gas will continue to play a key role as renewable energy sources are adopted. Learn more at madethecanadianway.ca.
Over the last few years, we all face limitations. What we could do, where we could go, who we could see. Now that things have eased, don't let aches and pains prevent you from spending time with those you love. Let us help relieve your joint pain caused by arthritis with Weber Naturals. Weber Naturals, the choice for more Canadians for joint pain.
This year, Prime members get holiday deals before anyone else, which means you're kind of a big deal. The Prime Early Access Sale, now on. Only for Prime members.
Dream big again with the Princess Margaret Home Lottery. Don't miss the incredible $7.2 million grand prize. Stunning grand prizes in Prince Edward County and Parry Sound. The $1 million bonus prize, our world-famous early bird prize, plus be part of the world's biggest 50-50. Homes, cottages, condos, over 25,000 prizes valued at $20 million. Tickets at princessmargaretlotto.com.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can bundle home and auto insurance. Right, Frank?
I saved a ton of money.
And now you're relaxing.
We're working from home.
Bundle home and auto and save with Allstate. Click or call for a quote today.
The Shark is Broken, the smash hit from London's West End.
Who gets top billing?
What do you think it's about? What?
This damn movie. It's about a shark.
Now on stage through November 6th. Get tickets at mervish.com.
Endometriosis is a painful and complex disease that affects 1 in 10 girls and women and an unknown number of transgender and gender-diverse people. Many spend years struggling to get a proper diagnosis, dismissed by doctors, and failing to get access to appropriate care. As Jamie Morocker explains, advocates say it's time that changed.
Colby Morley says for almost 2 decades, she was ignored by doctors.
Honestly, it goes back to being like 14 and having a lot of pain and going to the emergency room and no one ever knowing what's wrong with me and being told it's in my head, it's stress.
It wasn't until last year the now 33-year-old was diagnosed with endometriosis, a condition where tissue similar to that found in the uterine lining grows outside of it, causing extreme pelvic pain, soreness during sex, heavy menstrual bleeding, cramping, and even infertility.
There are common symptoms, but it affects everybody so individually that it really is, I think, part of why it is such a challenging disease to understand and to help treat.
In Canada, diagnosis delays have become an unfortunate norm, ranging from 5 to 20 years, a cost that rings in at almost $2 billion annually in doctor's appointments, hospital visits, transportation, and even missed work or school.
It's a very multifaceted problem, so that it starts with, first of all, not being able to even discuss women's health issues, issues around period pain, and the difficulties around understanding chronic pelvic pain in general.
In 2020, the U.S. doubled annual federal research funding for endometriosis. And 2 years before that, the Australian government published its plan to increase awareness, education, and management of the chronic disease. But when asked, Health Minister Jean-Yves Duclos wouldn't commit to immediate action here.
We would certainly want to continue listening to the patient groups, the researchers, to see how we can strengthen even more both our investments and the outcomes for patients.
A private member's motion calling for improved access to care and education was proposed in March. It hasn't yielded results. Morley had laparoscopic surgery in February to confirm her diagnosis. Still suffering, she says she won't be waiting on Ottawa.
I'll do anything to get my quality of life back.
Willing to seek treatment outside Canada, paying for the relief she should be able to access at home for free. Jamie Morocker, Global News, Toronto.
Ride to the future next, flying into the new reality.
The last 5% of work on a project is 95% of the effort.
Last window.
It is exactly what we wanted.
Love it. We have a house. Time here in Florida, and then time back in Canada, and then time over in the Bahamas. Who knows where we're going to be?
This is the first of many vacation rental homes.
Maybe I should do a restaurant.
Oh, yeah!
We did one.
I mean another one.
Island of Bryan. All new Sunday at 10 on HGTV. Also available on Stack TV and the Global TV app.
With Dempster's tortillas, the options are endless. Just wrap, roll, bake, create, crunch, smother, share, and of course, enjoy. Dempster's tortillas. They're always made by Canada.
Oh, her party has to have dinosaurs. She definitely wants Super Mario. Oh, and unicorns. She's obsessed.
With Party City at Canadian Tire, you can plan a perfect party for everyone. Even triplets. Party City at Canadian Tire, Canada's store.
Before trying Nexium 24-hour, Anna could only imagine a comfortable night's sleep without frequent heartburn waking her up. Now that dream is her reality. With one pill every 24 hours, stop acid before it starts for frequent heartburn protection for a more comfortable sleep.
Jen was mortified this morning. She liked her ex's post. Mama's day was fine until she sat on someone's toast. Daddy drifted off onto a total stranger's pants. Billy went to gym class. The teacher made him dance. So let's make it a Friday, a no need to cry day. 'Cause we come together over fries again, share a little bit of love and a lot of McCain. Just make it a Friday.
It doesn't matter who you're taking or where you're going. Your tires won't last forever. And now is the perfect time for new ones. Buy 3 tires and get the 4th free. Visit your Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram dealer for details.
Don't miss out on Popeye's Ribbon Chicken. We're talking a delicious handcrafted rippable chicken breast perfect for dipping. One of our mouth-watering sides, a golden flaky buttermilk biscuit, and a signature sauce. Better hurry though. Ribbon Chicken is only here for a limited time.
An emergency is the absence of choice.
911, what's your emergency?
I want to show people that you can go from sitting in a juvenile hall to sitting out here in Fiji with a PhD.
Flying cars long ago stopped being the stuff of science fiction. A race is underway to develop them and make them commercially viable. Hundreds of millions of dollars are being spent, and many prototypes of aerial vehicles are being tested, getting closer to becoming an everyday reality. As Ross Lord reports, one flying car made its public debut this week above the streets of Dubai.
This is a new entry in an old contest, mastering the production of flying cars.
Will be the very important base for the next generation flying car.
The Chinese company XPeng says its X2 model can travel up to 130 kilometers an hour, emitting 0 carbon dioxide, and could perform as a personal vehicle or for air patrols and emergency rescues. XPeng says the X2 has a foldable rotor mechanism for going back and forth between driving and flying, reaching new heights in a long-standing cultural obsession.
Didn't you ever space ski to school when you were a kid, Mom?
It's the only way to live in cars.
Some previous prototypes might be considered laughable today, like this one from the 1940s that simply welded a small car to the bottom of a plane. Flying cars are now at the center of a global spending spree that includes the major automakers and individual developers, like Canada's Marcus Lang.
Here she goes.
He's taken his idea from Ontario to California's Silicon Valley.
I think we've all had dreams of complete three-dimensional freedom.
XPeng says mass production of the X2 will start by 2024. The flying cars selling for about $150,000 US apiece. Technology that was predicted a long time ago could finally be coming true. Ross Lord, Global News.
And that is Global National for this Wednesday. I'm Donna Friesen. Tonight's Your Canada is Huntsville, Ontario. We'd love to see Your Canada. Please email it to us. And thanks for watching. Hope to see you here again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Why take her instead of just taking her out?
ET Canada is your award-winning source for what the entertainment world is talking about right now.
Amazing.
Every weeknight at 7:30 Eastern on Global.
The following program is available with described video.
Entertainment Tonight.
Tonight,
what are we doing?
Why Blake Shelton is leaving The Voice after 23 seasons.
It's a new phase of my life.
Then Angelina Jolie calls out Brad Pitt. The leaked email to her ex revealed.
It's heavy and it's a lot of fighting and it's pretty ugly.
Plus, Kaylee Cuoco's baby surprise, what she told E.T. about getting ready for motherhood.
I do have one story.
Then Jamie Lee Curtis joins the Beverly Hills Housewives.
That was a level of stress that you want to see in a horror movie, not in a reality TV show.
The next level drama.
I cried.
As ex-housewife Yolanda Hadid weighs in.
It's painful. And why? Because you want camera time?
And only ETs with Chip and Joanna Gaines in Waco, Texas.
ET starts right now.
And that will be the winner.
It's the end of an era on The Voice. Blake Shelton bows out, but not before one more spin in the chair. Welcome, everyone, to Entertainment Tonight. Kevin Frazier's off today. Next season will be Blake's last. And while fans never thought that this day would come, Blake did hint to us that a change was coming.
You are the OG of The Voice. Looking back at this journey, does it make you emotional at all?
It's hard to take in. It probably won't soak in on me until I'm not a coach someday, and that's when it'll hit me, like all these crazy things that I got to be a part of. I love The Voice. I love all the cool things I get to do with my job, but those things have all take a back seat now to Gwen and the kids, and it's just a new phase of my life.
12 years, 23 seasons, 8 Team Blake victories.
Cam Anthony, you did it!
I'm still the king of The Voice. I am the king of The Voice.
Yeah, the self-proclaimed king of The Voice says he's been wrestling with retirement for a while, but not a surprise to us.
Do you have another 20 seasons in you?
Probably not. I mean, I can't imagine, especially if they bring in these smart asses like Nick Jonas. You know, I don't know how much longer I can deal with. I don't feel like I'm necessarily putting myself in the rat race anymore and beating my head against the wall from a career standpoint.
E.T.'s been along for Blake's journey, starting way back to the first season in 2011.
This is a dream job for me.
The singer was part of the OG crew with Adam Levine, Christina Aguilera, and CeeLo Green. His biggest highlight? Well, that's easy.
I don't want to remember what I was like before Gwen, actually.
Blake's last season will be this coming spring when he'll join Kelly Clarkson and newcomers Niall Horan and Chance the Rapper, who we've learned is shooting his promo for the new season today. As for what's next career-wise, we're told Blake will be focusing on his new celeb game show with Carson Daly called Barmageddon and a big tour in 2023.
I love country music, and that's what's on my horizon from a career standpoint, is just keeping that thing going and being able to go out and tour and play, and that's what I do. I'm a country singer.
Well, we are definitely ready to see what's next, Blake. All right, another star announcing their next chapter, my girl, Kaylee Cuoco. It all started yesterday with a slice of pink cake. She and Ozark's Tom Pelphrey are having a baby girl, and we've got new details about Kaylee's secret pregnancy.
Babe, thank you so much.
Baby, anything for you.
Giving in to sandwich cravings, showing her beloved horses the baby bump, and revealing she used a stunt double to shoot her upcoming action thriller Role Play while pregnant. Kaylee's been hiding her surprise baby on the way for a while.
It was love at first sight.
Yeah, the 36-year-old only met Tom 5 months ago.